There are many investors in this league, but one investor has been trying to hide his investment ever since his remarks about a young rookie player put him in the news for a month and a half. This investor is Auriemma Dog, and I'm here to tell you that he owns a portion of the league. If you recall, Geno, the self-proclaimed basketball expert, claimed that Caitlin Clark couldn't succeed in the WNBA. Well, karma has a wicked sense of humor. Now, picture Caitlin Clark, the player he deeded, holding the one card that could save it all. But she's not playing. As I mentioned earlier, they actually had odds that she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be the WNBA MVP. That's unbelievable, right? It's a classic case of you reap what you sow. And AR's criticism is coming back to haunt him in the form of declining ratings and a significant financial loss. Meanwhile, Clark is busy proving him wrong with every WNBA record-breaking play. Talk about a plot twist. We received an update on the Unrivaled ratings for last Friday night, and as I like to say, they unraveled. The UConn coach, riding high on his college success, thought he had found his next golden ticket with Unrivaled, but let me tell you, this investment is turning into a disaster of epic proportions. However, we have an update here from one of the owners of the Unrivaled, and let's be honest, this league will not make it if they don't get Caitlin Clark involved. I think they realize that. So let's set the scene. Auriemma, flush with confidence, decides to put his money and weight behind this new women's. He believes he has the magic touch that makes everything he touches in women's basketball turn to gold. But here's the twist. The league's entire success is based on star power. And guess who's not playing ball? That's right, Caitlin Clark. Did you guys forget that Angel Reese said she was also the draw? Weeks in ratings are below 1,000,000. So where's the lie? What am I missing? Auriemma is probably pacing his office like a hawk, watching those viewership numbers, and let me tell you, they're not just low, they're embarrassingly low. This isn't just Goo's problem anymore. It's turned into a full-blown financial disaster. The league's business model, which seems so smart on paper, is now looking about as solid as a house of cards in a hurricane they've got to back. The drop from 300,000 viewers to barely scraping 1,000,000 is like going from Madison Square Garden to your local YM. It's a free fall that's making everyone involved break out in a cold sweat. It looks like JMA may be the reason Kayla Clark is definitely not joining the Unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league. If you don't get Caitlin Clark involved in this league, you don't have any chance of making a profit. You have to wonder what Auriemma was thinking when he signed those checks. Did he really think he could build a successful league without the star power of players like Caitlin Clark? It's like trying to make a blockbuster movie without any A-list actors. Well, I know they offered her $1 million, which I think was about 3 times what I think most of these players are getting. You have to consider this now because ARA's investment is beginning to look riskier than a half-court shot at the buzzer. They reportedly dangled over $1 million in front of her for just an 8-week season, which is some serious cash, but Clark saw the bigger picture and knew where she wanted to make her mark in the WNBA. You won't get the ratings, which in turn won't give you the revenue. The advertisers won't be there, right? It must be painful to watch Clark dominate the WNBA, knowing that she could have been the saving grace for Unrivaled, especially given how much he has criticized her in the past. However, let's take a moment to consider the numbers. How much did Geno actually invest in this venture? This is the kind of money that could have purchased a small island or paid for numerous college scholarships. You have to wonder if Auriemma is regretting some of the remarks he made about Clark, all the criticism he cast doubt on her skills, and now she's the one prospering while his investment collapses. It's like watching a live lesson in karma. Basketball court, I know some of you were thrilled that she wasn't doing Unrivaled, to stick it to the people who mistreated her. But the truth is that this whole situation is revealing a fundamental flaw in the way some people think about women's basketball. ARA and the other Unrivaled backers underestimated the importance of having real stars in the league and overestimated their own ability to attract top talent. Yes, it is Unrivaled, but let's be honest. You can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not in the NCAA tournament, you have nothing. Remember when everyone thought Caitlin Clark was going to make a ton of money with Unrivaled? Well, there's a whole backstory here that Geno Auriemma and his investor friends didn't see coming. Angel Reese might be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Imagine this. Unrivaled offers Clark a deal that would force most of us to quit our day jobs right away. We're talking about 7 figures for just a few weeks of play, right? Let's go back a little because, believe me, there's much more to this story than just a fat paycheck. You know how Geno or Raw couldn't help but mention Clark? Well, those remarks didn't exactly age like fine wine. In fact, they've turned into some pretty sour grapes for old Geno. Her delusional fan base disrespected the WNBA players by saying that she would go in that league and tear it apart. In fact, they were betting odds that she would place 3rd or 4th in the league in terms of MVP. These people are so rude, ignorant, and foolish that they damage the reputation of women's basketball. Starting in her first season, Clark is not only surviving but thriving. We're talking about 19 years old. Auriemma previously said that Clark wasn't built for the physicality of professional play. 2 points out of 8, 5 and 4 assists. Put yourself in Clark's shoes for a moment. You've just finished an incredible college career and are dominating the WNBA when the guy who doubted you asks you to save his new league. That's not only good, but it's historic. Diana said it best. This kid is in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped. They didn't read everything she said, but no one is printing it. You know Di DeRossi was right. This kid is on the wrong team. She has the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league, and she's a rookie. If you're a WNBA player or any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement, but let's be honest, that probably feels pretty good. Clark has a packed schedule that would make most of us want to take a nap. She just finished a historic WNBA freshman season. She's juggling endorsements and speaking engagements left and right. And remember that she is a human being and needs rest. She has chosen not to do Unrivaled, despite the fact that Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Kate Martin are doing it, as well as despite all the rumors and pressure that was placed on her. However, Clark has all the power in this situation, and I'm not saying that she flexed it, but she was confident enough in her position to make the decision, and it seems that the answer is no. As they say, burning the candle at both ends is not a good idea, so Clark is not going to ruin her career in order to make Auriemma investment look good. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. It's not just about rest and recovery. There's this whole respect thing that's been building after being undervalued for so long. Why would Clark help the people who doubted her? It's like if your high school bully asked you to help them win the lottery. Wouldn't that be at the top of your to-do list? Experts say that Clark's decision to turn down Unrivaled could have some serious long-term implications for her career. That's a power move, plain and simple. I got a basketball question for you. It was difficult to transition from the college season to the professional season because you don't get to spend a lot of time in the weight room. So that's what I've tried to focus on the most. There are obviously a lot of things on the court, but I'm always wanting to get better, and that's kind of what drives me. I love it. I love getting to do it, and I feel very good. You mentioned yesterday that you're always trying to get better. What are you working on? I'm lucky that I work there, but let's take a moment to discuss the impact on Unrivaled. Without Clark, this league would be like a birthday party without cake. Sure, people might show up, but it won't be nearly as exciting, according to analysts who predict that Unrivaled will struggle to draw in casual viewers without Clark's star power. She's more than just a player. She's a whole event in her own right. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about all that money? Well, Clark is looking at the big picture, and a successful, sustainable career in the WNBA could mean much more in the long run than a quick cash grab with Unrivaled, especially when she makes at least Unrivaled Phantom versus the Lunar Owls, $100,000 per speaking event. Please rename all of these teams a 016. You know what that translates to. 1-600-0-0 viewers. The Unrivaled Miss versus Rose. 1-600-0-0 viewers. That's not good? Okay, not good. And let's face it, Clark is already a hot commodity with endorsements, fans, and a lot of momentum. Why risk all of that for a league that might not even exist next year? Well, Caitlin Clark took that a step further, remembering Geno Auriemma saying, "Clark fans, were you crazy to think that Clark would blow up the WNBA?" Well, she didn't just enter the league, she burst onto the scene like a supernova. We're talking about a rookie season that left fans, analysts, and even the most critical critics stunned. This wasn't just good, it was history in the making. I expect to be one of the best players in the world someday, and I think a lot of good will come from that. Let's break it down, shall we? Clark broke 62 records in her debut season, but wait, there's more. It's almost as if she's playing a different game out there. You know, I just come out here and try to play basketball in a way that people love watching, in a way that is going to make my team successful, and the records and whatever, or the stats that's out there. Let that sink in for a moment. The player who supposedly couldn't handle the pro game is out there making seasoned veterans look like they're stuck in quicksand, and just when you thought she couldn't possibly do more, Clark accomplished something that hadn't been done in WNBA history.